I'm Jon Clements. My main job, I'm an extension agent at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. In the spring and summer, we do meetings for the growers like this. They come together. We have these twilight meetings. I do a newsletter called Healthy Fruit, which is a subscription-based newsletter, again, kind of specific to the commercial business. We have a website, the UMass Fruit Advisor, umassfruit.com. But again, pretty much, we've got some homeowner kind of stuff going on there, but it's pretty much commercial growers. We also do, we just ended doing this series of Mass Aggie seminars. I did 2 of them, one on pruning back in February and one on, I don't know, one on just kind of in general, the backyard orchard stuff. So who's got apple trees or fruit trees in their yard currently? Yeah, so quite a few people. So there's two kinds of pruning cuts in my book, 2 basic kinds. There's thinning cuts and heading cuts. And when I tell people one thing, if you can manage your trees using 100% thinning cuts, that's preferred. All right, so I'll show you the difference. You know the difference? No. So a thinning cut is where you remove a branch all the way back from where it originates. Okay, so let me just, is this a thinning cut?
No.
Is this a thinning cut?
Yeah.
If you can maintain your trees using thinning cuts versus heading cuts. Now what happened here last year? What kind of cut did they make right there?
Heading cut.
Right. So a lot of, it just gets interesting. I mean, heading cuts work, they're just not preferred. Because what happened where she made a heading cut? Well, one thing that happened is you get typically vertical water sprouts. I mean, you did get a fruit bud here after 2 years. It's okay. But you also got, you've got kind of this competing mess, so to speak. You start to get these competing mess. And I'm looking at the apple trees in the back, and I'm not going to pick on you too much. I'm just going to see if we can change our attitude a little bit. Because these heading cuts have a tendency to make bushes. Don't worry about them too much. So rule number 1, just use thinning cuts. Don't come in here and start doing this if you can avoid it, okay? Because then you're going to end up with a bushy tree like you got over there. See that apple tree, how bushy, how kind of like thick and dense it is? Rule number 2. In general, horizontal wood is preferable to vertical. Well, actually, horizontal wood always preferable to vertical wood. What do I mean by vertical wood? That's vertical. This is horizontal. Vertical, horizontal. All right. So, but I'm not going to do this to try and make that more horizontal. I'm not going to do this. What am I going to do? I'm going to do this right here, right? Thinning cut. All right. If I didn't do anything else to those 2 branches, I might cut this out right here. I'm fine and dandy with that because that's going to grow some new wood. It's going to make this a little bigger. I've got some new wood here, which is good. I'm not going to go cut this all off. A lot of times I find the homeowners, and I don't know, somebody's talked about the water sprouts, you get in a vicious circle where you just, I got to cut all this vertical wood out here. You go cut it all out and you got nothing left. You're cutting out all your potential fruiting in the future. That may be an extreme example, but you get my drift? You want to leave some of this nice wood. This isn't a problem out here, sticking out here yet. I wouldn't have normally pruned this. I just was using that as an example. All right, so I said vertical wood is bad, an example, and especially real vigorous vertical wood. Most of this vertical wood's got to come out of here just to, this one I might leave because it's going a little horizontal. And this, if I had a saw, but I've got to cut most of this vertical type wood. But while I'm at it, I'm also like, what do I got going over here? I got kind of a mess. I got shaded wood. I've got, I can't really get in there and pick. So why don't I, using thinning cuts again, I just want to open this area up a little bit and get rid of some of this old wood down here. I've got some nice, remember I said I like horizontal? I'm going to cut a little bit of this vertical. Now I might leave a few of these suckers just because if I leave these, then you're going to get some water sprouts because I can't, if I leave some of this, that's going to form some new fruiting wood. I might just, okay. Now we've pruned quite a bit. We pruned this tree quite a bit. But look what we've done. We've reduced the tree height. Now I don't need to cut all this stuff out because it's going to have pears on it. I might cut this one. I might leave this to have some pears on it. Remember, these should be nice flower buds. I mean, that's going to be where your nicest pears in this tree are going to come from. Mm-hmm. So again, you know, apple trees are the same as the pear tree. You've got, you know, you had some wood that grew last year, kind of weak and spindly. What variety is this, do you know?
This is a Grimes Golden.
Grimes Golden, okay. You know, as we move back farther in the tree, your spur complexes get older and weaker and obviously, you know, shaded and stuff. You can't help that too much. If I were to, rather than doing all this little cutting out here, I would have come in here maybe and just cut that out. Now, the other thing is she was coming way out here. The way you correct that is like you just kind of thin back to your longest branches and will keep your tree back in. All right, so let's go look. Sure, we should look at trees that aren't pruned. Yeah, or we can look at a peach tree. Yeah, because we want to give everybody some time to do some cutting themselves. We did apples and pears are the same. The big difference is peaches form flower buds on 1-year-old wood. So any wood that grew last year also has flower buds on it. These could have flower buds, just these tips. You also do get some flower buds back in older wood. Peaches are a little bit of a weed because they fruit on 1-year-old wood, you know, so you can pretty much hack them up. As long as you grow some new 1-year-old wood, you potentially have a crop. That's why I say they're a weed. The only thing with peaches is they suffer even more than apples. I call it creepitis. They creep up and out. They like the sunlight. You talk about you talk about the brown rot. I come back here. I see that you got starting to get a lot of dead wood here. That's not good. That's dead because it's not getting sunlight. All the canopy is blocking the sun down here. All right. Now, you know, peaches also kind of like need to be pruned correctly from day one. What I want to do now, though, is peaches kind of, you know, you can hack them up a little more than apples, but I don't want it to keep it growing up. I want to thin it out a little bit, get rid of some older dead wood here, maybe using thinning cuts. Chop that back, chop it back. I want to push it back if I can. I want to push it back in. Now, the other thing is somebody should go through here and cut all this dead wood out because this is where brown rot is spending the winter. I know that looks bad, but this thing will just grow. Again, I want to grow a bunch of new 1-year-old wood. But now I've got sun coming down into this. Again, I'm kind of dealing with a remedial situation here. Let's finish it. Cut this off right here. Keep going. Keep going. Now the problem here is I can't really do this to everything. I mean, here's where, you know, you gotta deal with these when they're younger. I can't, whoops, careful. I can't cut everything out of here, but I might. So again, if I was to finish this, peaches really are freaking weeds. You can hack them up pretty good.
Everybody was having fun. Questions were answered, smiling faces. It's fun to have Jon here because he's used to dealing with a certain type of orchard, and I think we put him in a fun position where he felt like he wasn't going to be as useful. But I think there's a lot of value in homeowners having a sense of how differently growers of commercial scale and homeowner scale have to actually think differently. But the pruning should be almost the same.
This pruning workshop was exactly what I needed at the time I needed. I actually have been pruning and I said, okay, I can stop for a while and go to the workshop first. Thinning cuts, not heading cuts. So don't cut the branch halfway down from the tip. Cut it at the base. And also open spaces. I already knew that. Open spaces in the tree canopy so that their light gets through to it. Those are probably the main takeaways.
Oh yeah, slice it.